Welcome everyone to Mailed Fuzz TV News. I am Peter, and joining me is Connor for the grand return. I know many people have been missing the TV News podcast. We tried the daily thing, or, close to a daily, whenever there was news to discuss format, and it kind of fell apart after a few weeks. I would love to say I'm surprised, but I'm not. But people missed the weekly format.
Honestly, I think the daily thing was going okay until the channels split, and then it was like, well, we can't have TV and movie news in the same thing.
Yeah, they couldn't complement each other. You're frozen, by the way, on camera. Just
God damn it, my camera is being a dick.
Yes, it turned off randomly before we started as well. But hey-ho, everyone, we are here, and we are going to do our best to keep this mostly. Now, Connor's work schedule does change around a little bit, so the actual day of the week you get this might flutter around a little bit to accommodate that. But we'll squeeze it in when we can. And if you're curious, we're recording a movie news after this as well, so the idea is to actually have both of them at some capacity going more or less weekly. So welcome back. We've returned. Connor, I'm sure, will drink booze if he hears the key phrases uttered.
Wouldn't be the first time, won't be the last.
Yes, I doubt it. And if you're wondering where Star Trek The Next Generation is, the next episode has been recorded. It'll be up on Patreon soon, and it'll be back to public like a week later, because it's a week early on Patreon. But the ball is rolling again in that, because I know some people have been missing that too. Connor did have the virus. Just if you didn't know that, Connor was actually ill with the virus for about, all things considered, it was probably 2 weeks, from start to end.
Yeah, it was about 2 weeks, and then Paige got it, so I'm still not allowed to leave the house for another, as we record this, just over an hour and a half. I am legally still required to stay inside my house.
But you feel better now, is the important part.
Yeah.
So, hey-ho. So TV news, yes, I didn't go all the way back to the last time we did one, because that would be an obscene amount of news. It had taken me hours to find it all, so I just went back to the week.
Taken about a 10-hour recording session, probably.
Probably, but, I went back to Monday, so we did the news for the week, picked out the interesting stuff, and I've got a couple of quick release date things to mention here. Not necessarily all of it stuff that we care about specifically, but I thought people would like to know that the 6th and final season of Lucifer is debuting on the 10th of September on Netflix. So, I know there's fans of that show who'll be happy to know that.
I discovered there are a lot more fans of that show at work than I would have ever guessed, given what that show is. And the demographics of the people watching it are not what I would have predicted.
It's all the oldies.
It's not the teenage girls like you would expect. It is the 25 to 40-year-old men. And it was
he's that
very surprising to learn.
He's that devilishly handsome. It's all
yes.
It's all the men. I don't know what to tell you. An even less interesting side of things. Fear the Walking Dead is returning.
Are they still doing that?
Season 7 of Fear the Walking Dead.
I legitimately thought that had ended.
That's one of those things. You're frozen again, by the way. That's one of those things where Fear the Walking Dead, because it's something I remember it starting, and I remember talking about the first couple of episodes. Every time I'm reminded of what season it's on, I feel really old. I'm like, wait, 7? 7?
Yeah.
Where did 7 seasons go?
7.
Yeah, so that's October 17th anyway. That's coming back. So fans can look forward to that. So cool. And then we get other release date here. Amazon's, and I forgot this was happening. I can't wait to cover the pilot of this one. So I Know What You Did Last Summer, the series.
Is it actually called the series?
No. I'm just adding that on to make it clear.
Well, sometimes they do that, so you never know.
Yeah. So the young adult series, which I could see how it could become a young adult thing specifically.
Well, you're gonna see very soon.
Well, arguably, because the meaning of young adult is very nebulous. We know what it means when they say it, but technically you could easily look at any slasher movie ever that's got teenagers and go, it's technically young adult.
You'd be stretching it on a lot of them.
I mean, you could...
having young adults as the main characters does not make something young adult.
I think you could argue Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street you probably could actually, but I was thinking the movie of this, like Out We Did Last Summer, you could argue that as young adult.
I mean, I never watched this one, so this one passed me by.
You could. But yes, so it's coming out on October.
On October. Nothing specific?
Yeah, to be more specific, I thought they were going to give me an exact date. They just said it's coming in October, so which makes sense. I mean, it's the perfect time for it.
Yeah, it'd be weird if they didn't release it in October, to be honest.
I mean, to be honest, the exact date's kind of like once you know the month, it's like well, I mean, they obviously need to know to catch it, but it's not that important anymore in the sense of like you know roughly how long you're waiting now if you know the month.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a short window. I can love. Not that I'm waiting with bated breath for. I Know What You Did Last Summer.
He's so excited in the inside.
Oh yes. They wasted Jeffrey Combs in the sequel so much. It really hurts. It really hurts. Jeffrey Combs, horror legend. Jeffrey Combs, the Culminator, got wasted. We also got a release month, not a date, just a month, for a big show coming from Amazon, and that is The Wheel of Time. They released a new poster for it, and the poster makes it very distinctly says November 2021. So you're getting this in November. The only person on the poster is Rosamund Pike's character. So yeah,
I'm excited for this one. I've never read the books. They're, even for me as a big fantasy fan, there's like at least 13 of them, and they're all like 1,000 pages long. It's an undertaking to commit to that I haven't gone around to yet, but interested for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I only heard about it when they started talking about the TV show like 5 years ago. It feels like we've been talking about the Wheel of Time show's coming on Amazon. I've got Wheel of Time. Like I feel like
it's not really felt real, has it? Until I guess it's closer to being real now, but still no trailer.
Yeah, so I'm sure it's probably soon. If it's coming in November, I imagine we're probably gonna have one by the end of the summer.
Yeah, Amazon tend to release their trailers a bit earlier than Netflix usually do.
And then speaking of trailers, actually, that's what we're on to. Next, we got a teaser trailer for Star Trek Prodigy, which is the second animated series to come out of the Paramount Plus, formerly CBS All Access. But this is also a co-production with Nickelodeon, which is also owned by Viacom. So, you know, whatever. But the point being is that it's the second animated Trek show of the modern era. And it's got a minute-long teaser. It's debuting on the 12th of August, which is cool. Soon. Yeah, it's very soon. Yeah. And the trailer looks fine. Like, you know, it looks like an expensive animated show.
Yeah, this one's interesting to me in the sense that I'm not actually that interested in watching it, but I'm not the audience, and none of us are. This one is it's a Nickelodeon show, right? That's kind of the point of this one. This is Star Trek aimed at kids.
Yeah, but it looks more. How do I put this? It's not that it doesn't look like a kid show, because it does, but it doesn't feel like a kid show in the same way that at least kid shows when I was growing up. It looks more like an actual continuous adventure that has been set up at the start, where these kids find this old starship and they're going to go on adventures.
Honestly, it's very much what a lot of modern kids animation is. I'm thinking like, and I say kids, I kind of just mean family friendly at this point, rather than, you know, for the 5-year-olds.
That's kind of what I'm getting at, though, is that I think this probably will be accessible for older people if they want to enjoy it, even if it is also obviously very kid friendly. Yeah,
it reminds me of things like recently the Troll Hunters stuff on Netflix. Going back a bit, you know, you've got Avatar. You know, that was very much a continuous journey, and that was, I think, mid 2000s. So it's animation changed a bit since we were, you know, young kids watching it.
Yeah, I mean, part of me is kind of annoyed that in a lot of ways, outside of your probably your anime, like 2D animation by and large does feel like a lot of places left it behind. Like they just like, once we had CG,
because it was more expensive.
It's been kind of been relegated to. Funnily enough, because Lower Decks was 2D, right? Like it's kind of been relegated to that style. It's, you know, to the Family Guy, Futurama, snarky, kind of more adult orientated humor kind of thing.
Yeah,
it feels like it's an Archer even is another example, probably, right?
Yeah,
that's 2D.
Yeah, it's like a cel shaded 2D.
So it's just kind of interesting how that divide's kind of happened over time, and it's like And I think part of the reason why I like struggle to get into a lot of animated stuff, and there's exceptions, there absolutely is, but I think a part of it is it's actually the same reason why I think films in general don't look as good as they used to, because I love how natural a grainy looking piece of film looks. Like when I'm watching like an older movie that's shot in film, like I love how it looks. And
you want hand drawn 2D animation.
Like there's a texture to it because of the paper, right, or whatever they're drawing on. I don't know what they do. Yeah. Like modern animation's too clean, and I feel the same way about like digital film a lot of the time. Is that it just looks too clean. So it's for some reason I don't know why I had this epiphany watching this teaser trailer, but I had the epiphany that my lack of connection to how CG animation looks a lot of the time actually does kind of connect to how I feel about live action movies and how I think they look a bit bland because they're too clean looking these days. So it's just interesting that I had this.
It'll swing back around in a decade or so.
But it makes sense. There's actually kind of like a parallel between them that actually makes sense to me now in my brain as to why I find it a little bit dull looking.
No, I can follow the logic. More so than some of your usual anti-animation nonsense.
And you froze for giving me shit. So that's it's okay.
Don't know what's going on with this today.
That's fine. Just turn it off and on again. It's fine.
I am. I've just gotta move the window to turn it off and on again. It's annoying.
Speaking of shows that we didn't realise had gotten to a certain season, I thought Manifest had just premiered and it was like just finishing up season 1. Turns out it's had 3 seasons, and NBC... That's a good question. But NBC just cancelled it. But what's funny is that right after they cancelled it, it started doing really well on Netflix. Seasons 1 and 2 went on Netflix, and the streaming numbers are apparently very strong. So now the buzz is that Netflix and NBC are in talks to continue on Netflix. So this is an example of a network show which gets an audience later.
Because Netflix have gotten out of the game of saving things lately.
They've gotten out of the game of making good things for the most part. So I remember a time when most Netflix originals looked at least a little bit interesting, and I feel like every single trailer I see for Netflix recently, I'm just like, oh, this looks bland as shit.
I'm trying to think what the last Netflix show I watched. I mean,
Queen's Gambit's the exception, which obviously would be liked.
Yeah.
But like
that a lot.
Take that out of the equation. It's a lot bland. A lot bland.
Yeah. I can't actually think of anything. That's really annoying me. It's got to be something.
I mean, we tried Tribes of Europa. That was mediocre. We tried
that was not that good.
Other things I can't remember now because they're all bland. That's where I can't remember them. So let's not kill radio time by trying.
Fine. I give up. Some of their animated stuff's alright. I liked. Oh God, what? It was like an ancient Greek animation thing. I can't remember the name of it now, but that was solid. It was good. It was. Honest.
Yeah, you're being convincing. You've been very convincing right now.
I know. I'm hoping it'll pop up on my Netflix and give me the name here.
No.
And it's just not happening.
Well, we're moving on. But the story is that Manifest is doing really well on Netflix, and it's raised buzz that it might be saved by Netflix, at least for a season or two. So, very good. I could have sworn that only just debuted.
I thought I had, if I'm being honest with you.
Next up, there's a new showrunner for Dune, The Sisterhood, the TV show that they're doing for HBO Max, which is a spin-off of the movie that's upcoming.
Given how... Don't know, I'm very excited for the movie. Mm-hmm. Given how it's definitely going to tank, I am surprised they're bothering with this show still.
You never know. It may not tank. It might...
Name me one Denis Villeneuve project that hasn't tanked.
This could be the one. This is the Warner's right behind they're doing all these character posters this week. It's just a whole thing. So Diane Ademu-John is now the new showrunner, and she worked on The Haunting of Bly Manor, which is not an amazing sign because I did kind of nope out of that after a couple of episodes, but it is what it is. So replacing John Spates, who stepped down in November 2019. I thought I was going to say 2019. That's ages ago. But I mean, admittedly, he stepped down to focus on the scripts for the movie. So I mean, at least he's still in the family.
Okay, yeah.
He didn't walk away upset. He just like, you know what?
Blood of Zeus. That was the show.
No one cares.
Sorry, carry on. I care. It was going to annoy me.
But he's like, you know what? No. This movie's too hard to write. I'm going to focus on that. Someone else can show run the TV show. Yeah. I'm not even going to tell you anymore. And
I'm just check every so often.
Yes. Just look at the screen. Look at the.
I can't see myself.
The call.
Without checking.
All right. So that's the Dune news. Here's a bit of interesting, well, mildly amusing news. I'm going to call this mildly amusing if you know the history of Charmed, which I do. for the record.
Niche audience for this news piece.
Well, this is the thing. So the actress, Madeleine Mantock, right? Her character of Macy, who's the oldest of the sisters, the three sisters on the show. We did the pilot when this started, this new version a few years ago, which was 2018. That was 3 years ago. God, time is flying.
What?
I know.
Like, I know collectively we lost a year, basically.
Pretty much.
But what?
I know. So that's wrapping up its third season, and the eldest sister, the actress who plays the eldest sister, is leaving. The reason why this is amazingly funny is because this is exactly the same time that it happened on the original show when the eldest sister left, whose name her name is Prue, but like the actress from Shannon Doherty. I thought of it. She left, and it was kind of controversial. If I remember, there was like beef with Alyssa Milano at the time or something. Like, there was a lot of speculation. I mean, it doesn't really matter now. But the point is that they had this awkward cliffhanger, and I saw this. I didn't watch it when it was airing, but I saw most of Charmed at a later time. And they had this awkward cliffhanger in the season 3 finale where like they all got knocked out by something, and then you start season 4, and the two of them that are left are like, "Oh, it's a shame about Prue dying." Like, what? that killed her. So this is probably more amicable, and maybe it was written into the story. It sounds like it was. It sounds like it was written into the finale why she's leaving in some way. But so, it's just kind of funny that somehow, for some reason, the actor playing the eldest sister decided to leave at that time. And
everyone knows history repeats itself.
Yeah, this is history repeating itself almost exactly, like scarily close to the exact circumstances. Outside of the actor's reason for leaving, I guess. But so it's just kind of funny. I saw this on Twitter during the weekend, just sort of laughed when I realized like why this was notable, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. So the question is, are they going to do the exact same thing the original show did, where they awkwardly introduce a half sister who they didn't know about before? So it's back to 3.
Even if they don't do that, although they should, I hope they at least reference just the awkwardness of the original version, like just in some way.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Nothing to add. I don't think the actors actually given like a full reason. They've all been very nice about it when they've been talking about it, but I don't think there's actually been like an exact reason as of yet. So hey, not that I'll remember to ever bother checking later. So but,
not unless it happens to come across you randomly.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So we've got some various casting things to look into now. One is for the Last of Us TV show, and it's an actor that we're both fond of, I think, but I'm especially a big fan of Fringe, so I really care about this. Anna Torv has been added to the season 1 cast of The Last of Us, appearing opposite Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. So that is pretty cool.
I like her well enough. I don't have the same attachment, I guess, that you do, but yeah, I think she's solid.
Yeah. She's going to play Tess, who, if you've played the game, you know the story, you'll know who that is, and what role she's going to play. So,
which I think is an interesting thing, because I know they mentioned, it was probably not this week if you've not got it, but it was relatively recently, the guy who plays Tommy in the game is going to be in the show, but not playing Tommy. And I feel like there was a story a while back about the same thing with the actress for Tess.
Yeah, the actress for Tess is an actress who's been on a lot of TV shows, so she could have, in theory, just played the role, but maybe it's because they just want to differentiate everything because they're not going to have the actors for Ellie and Joel, so they just want everyone to be different. Maybe they'll give her a different role at some point, or maybe the actress just wasn't available.
I think they already have. That's why I think I got like a while ago. I have vague memories of just that kind of. She's in there somewhere, but not Tess, obviously.
Yeah. Maybe it's a case of like they just want to differentiate it. Maybe it's a case of some of these actors like couldn't commit to this because apparently it's like a 10-month shooting schedule for this bloody thing this season. So yeah,
it's very expensive sounding as well. I think I saw
over 10 million an episode.
10 million episode, yeah. It's like bloody hell.
Which
that's a lot.
As a big fan of the games, at least I'm going to get that production value. I'm going to get that HBO production value, if nothing else. They want to give me a convincing post-apocalyptic clicker-infested world. I'm all about it.
Yeah, I bet you are.
I just hope it can live up to the quality of the story in the game.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
That's what I hope. But yeah, Avatar was a good get. Also, of course, we talked about it a lot in Fringe. Mindhunter was what I was trying to say there. I just said Fringe again because that's obviously
just like Fringe that much.
I love Fringe. Fringe is great. Fringe is a great show. Moving on to something else, we got Michelle Monaghan is going to play the dual lead roles in a Netflix show called Echoes. It's a limited series. It's about identical twins from 13 Reasons Why writer, executive producer, showrunner Brian Yorkey. Yorkey. I'm just a chocolate bar, just...
That was me as well.
It just came out of my head. It's not spelled the same, but it doesn't matter. So, yes, Echoes is a mystery thriller about identical twins Lenny and Gina, both portrayed by Monaghan, who share a dangerous secret. Since they were children, Lenny and Gina secretly have swapped lives, culminating in a double life as adults. They share 2 homes, 2 husbands, and a child, but everything in their perfectly choreographed world is thrown into disarray when one of the sisters goes missing. And then the one who's left has to... like, I can see the comedy version of this where the one who's left has to, like, hysterically try and, like, keep up 2 lives. And, like,
pull double duty.
Yeah.
I think I'd prefer to see that version, to be honest with you.
It's pretty funny, yeah. I mean, there's potential. I mean, I literally just put on a rant about how Netflix originals all look kind of shit now. But, I mean, who knows? Like, every so often they're about to have a Queen's Gambit level thing. So maybe this is going to fall into that.
I feel less confident about it coming from the 13 Reasons Why people.
That's fair. That is totally fair. Yeah. I mean, it's a chocolate bar.
Is Yorkie the one that had the tagline "Not for girls"?
Yes, I had that controversial tagline for like so
decades.
Long. Yeah, and then someone finally said, that's a bit sexist."
I couldn't remember for a second. I was blanking as to whether that was Yorkie or Lion.
No, it's not Lion. I don't think a Lion ever had a.
I don't think it did, which is why I was like, maybe it was Lion Bar that had that, but
no. Do you know, Lion Bar? We're getting into UK chocolate bars here, which I know not all the audience is going to like know, but. Lion Bar is one of those weird things where I think I've had one my entire life. For whatever reason, it's not that it's bad, it's just that it kind of just crosses over with so many other chocolate bars that I've never felt the need to go for a Lion Bar.
Oh, no, I love Lion Bars. The toffee Lion Bars, the white chocolate Lion Bars, give me them all. I mean, not now, obviously, but...
I've had a variant. I
miss Lion Bars.
I know, if I'm picking a thing, I mean, a Boost, I enjoy a Boost.
Boosts are pretty good. Yorkies were pretty low down on the list, let's be honest.
Yeah, I'm not, like, it's fine. But, like, I feel like a Yorkie's just a shit Toblerone in some ways.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, if you handed it, you're not going to say no.
Not even a big Toblerone guy, to be honest.
But, you're in the newsagents, there's your chocolate stand. You're not picking a Yorkie.
Nah. But hey, anyway. Moving on. And if I'm going plain chocolate, it's Galaxy is my number 1 choice. But most of the mainstream options are pretty good here. I can't really deny any of them being bad.
Yeah, you're kind of fine with all of them, really.
Yeah. Anyway, Shailene Woodley, from numerous things, but Big Little Lies is what they're listed here, and perhaps the most relevant given it's another big prestigious TV show. It's going to star in 3 Women, which is a Showtime hour-long series based on the number 1 non-fiction bestseller by Lisa Taddeo, who's adapting her own book. So they landed the book back in the summer of 2019. We might have even talked about it back then. We might have said, hey, they've bought this and it's in development.
Maybe, but...
And Three Women described as an intimate, haunting portrayal of American female desire. Three women are on a crash course to radically overturn their lives. Lena. Do you know, the last thing we talked about had like a Gina and a Lenny, and there was a Lena in this, so just my brain just kind of broke down for a second looking at that.
Yeah.
It's like two names combined. Anyway, a homemaker. That's who Lena is. She's a homemaker in suburban Indiana. As a decade into passionate marriage, when she embarks on an affair that quickly becomes all-consuming and transforms her life. Sloan, a glamorous entrepreneur in the Northeast, has a committed open marriage with Richard until two sexy new strangers threaten their aspirational love story. Maggie, a student in North Dakota, weathers an intense storm after accusing her married English teacher of an inappropriate relationship. Gia, played by Woodley, a writer grieving the loss of her family, persuades each of these three spectacular, ordinary women to tell their stories, and her relationship with them changes the course of their lives forever. So it sounds like it's kind of about the writer who wrote the non-fiction book, in a weird way, right?
Yeah.
Sounds a bit hard, like meeting our case studies and interacting with them. That's the fact that the writer herself is adapting this. I mean, I guess it makes sense if it was all sort of told as an investigative piece where she was kind of in the piece herself. I suppose it makes sense she would be in the story when it's adapted, but it's kind of interesting to have her write herself as a character in the thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure how interesting it actually sounds, but I mean, we'll see. I will say I'm disappointed all those names and there wasn't a Jenny.
I mean, clearly it's meant to be an examination of like these three very different women who all have very different like relationships with men, all have very different circumstances, and just sort of like, this sort of, you know, spectrum of treatment across the board and expectations across the board. You can see what it's getting at.
It was when it got to like the second person, where the way it described it, like, oh, the sexy young lovers like come and ruin everything. It sounded so TV.
Sure, yeah. But it was based on a true story, seemingly, so.
Sure, yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
You know, life's weird, right?
Yeah. Now, there's something that I know you'll be kind of very excited about.
Oh, I don't trust you.
Well, I know you're not super hyped for She-Hulk, right? Because you're not super into the Marvel shows right now, but there was a bit of casting this week that I think you'll be intrigued by.
Go ahead, intrigue me.
So, I don't believe we have a character for this. Yes. But the actor Josh Segarra has been cast. Do you know who that is when I say his name?
Not off the top of my head, should I?
Imagine a piece of music from Arrow that you quite liked.
Son of a bitch, I'm in. Look, in my defense, I'm pretty sure every time I saw his name in the credits, I was drunk.
That's what was his character again? Because I forget now, to be honest. Is it Prometheus? It wasn't Prometheus, was it?
I think it was, yeah.
Was it Prometheus? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm doubting myself. It's been long enough now that I'm doubting that that's what the name was. But okay, Prometheus. Yeah, so Prometheus is an unspecified role in the She-Hulk show. So, yeah. There you go.
I guess Jake Gyllenhaal wasn't available, so they've gone to the knockoff.
Well, Jake Gyllenhaal was already in Marvel, wasn't he? He was Mysterio in Spider-Man.
I'll be honest, I haven't seen that movie, so I forgot.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, he's in that, so
No, I remember that being a thing now. I just
maybe he's playing like his younger brother or something.
Oh please! Wait, wasn't that like multiversal nonsense? With they pulled out that.
I mean, there's multiverse nonsense coming up, but no, that movie was not multiverse nonsense.
Yeah. Maybe this is Mysterio from another multiverse.
From another universe, you mean?
Yes, from another universe within the multiverse.
Yeah, so we got 3 shows to talk about here at the end with the in the new section. Not as much as we've had in the past, but that is okay. So we have a show which involves Matt Reeves and Damon Lindelof, which is obviously big names to be mentioning, but British filmmaker Oscar Sharp is teaming with them to develop a magical realist medical drama.
Oh, man.
For HBO Max. There's a lot of weird combinations of things here.
Magical realist. I was like, okay. And then you said medical drama and all interest tanked.
So it's called The Human Conditions.
Of course.
So it's an original series that follows a young British doctor who must learn to treat impossible, fantastical illnesses by healing the emotional issues that underlie them and confronting her own along the way.
Oh, God damn it.
That was kind of professional and personal, because it was the professional side, and it was like, and also her personal stuff too.
Hang on, let me just I've moved some stuff around. Let me just find a ball.
Okay, the quest for booze is returned on the TV news show. Hope everyone's missed this.
This will be the first hard liquor I've had in like a month. I mean, I've had like it in cocktails recently, but no, not on its own. Whew.
It's just finishing that bottle. He's downed the whole bottle for the audio listeners.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, it's so empty and it's been empty for a while. There's like probably not much alcohol left in this.
Oh,
I could probably down that and it would have no effect.
Well, next time's the charm, okay? Next time's the charm. Next up, we have another Netflix original show in development. So, they've greenlit The Night Agent, a political conspiracy thriller series created by Sean Ryan based on author Matthew Quirk's 2019 New York Times bestseller. So
I'm going to assume this isn't by my brother.
No, I doubt it.
Because that is my brother's name.
I mean, I don't know if the photo here is of the showrunner or the guy who wrote the book, but he definitely doesn't look like you. I'll say that.
Key question: how are they spelling Sean?
With a W.
Oh, that's fine. It's not him.
Oh, is it the Irish spelling your brother's got?
Yeah. Of course it is.
No, that's
The correct spelling.
The guy in this photo. That's not the correct spelling.
Is to me.
It's not the correct. That's the weird spelling. It doesn't make any sense. That spelling looks like it should be said "seen," right? And I know it's not, but that's how it looks. Whereas SHAWN actually looks like the word Sean. Okay, so end of discussion.
That's the anglicized, boring version of it. It was a Gaelic name that was spelt that way, and then the Angles couldn't spell it, so they bastardized it.
The future is now, old man. So, moving on. We're talking about this Night Agent show. Inspired by Quirk's novel, The Night Agent is a sophisticated character-based action thriller centering on a low-level FBI agent who works in the basement of the White House, manning a phone that never rings until one night it does, propelling him into a fast-moving and dangerous conspiracy that ultimately leads to all the way to the Oval Office. It is a 10-episode series.
It's not very far, it's just upstairs.
Yeah. If they can stretch 10 episodes out of him just fighting his way up a couple of stairwells, then I'll be impressed.
Like, all the way to the Oval Office usually is overused but inherently impressive sentence in its context. I mean, you're already in the basement of the White House. It's less.
Look, metaphorically, I know what it's doing. It's the basement of the building all the way to the most important room in the building, okay? Like, it's not about the distance. It's about the...
It's not, but all the way to the Oval Office as a sentence has its own set of connotations that brings with it.
Alright. You probably care more about this next one. So this is an Amazon show. This is Neil Gaiman, who's
I do care.
involved. It's an adaptation of the Anansi Boys. Or Anansi Boys?
Anansi, I think, right?
Yeah,
There's a
Anansi.
second N in there.
So, yeah, Amazon's ordered this. This is just straight up. It's a fantasy novel from Neil Gaiman.
Which I've not read, but I'm like 80% sure is a spin-off from American Gods. At least the book is.
Which, of course, Amazon also did as a miniseries. Although it's kind of season 2, if I remember right.
Season 3, I think, didn't it?
Well, there you go. Time flies. I don't know. But shooting's going to start later this year in Scotland, apparently. It follows Charlie Nancy, a young man who is used to being embarrassed by his estranged father. But when his father dies, Charlie discovers that his father was an Anansi, which is a trickster. Wait, what? His father was an Anansi, trickster god of stories. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's from an African country, I believe.
I didn't realize it was a name, so I said that weird, and I didn't fall into the description of who he was. But yes, his father was a Nancy, trickster of god stories, trickster god of stories. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble with this title. But anyway, and he learns that he has a brother. Now his brother Spider is entering Charlie's life, determined to make it more interesting, but making it a lot more dangerous.
Yes, I believe, again, could be a million. Just Anansi, as a god of mythology, can like transform into spiders, or a spider, maybe singular. I don't know, but that's why that's there. Okay.
Still uses a weird name though. His brother Spider.
I agree. Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm not a big fantasy guy. I've not been big in a lot of the Neil Gaiman stuff that I have come into contact with. So,
I'm assuming the one exception is Stardust.
Was that Neil Gaiman?
Yeah.
Fair enough then. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but, I mean, obviously the film, I don't know how much. It was a Vaughn film, right?
Matthew Vaughn was able to turn Mark Millar comics into gold, so I mean, I don't know how much that really means anything.
Look, I know you've not been the biggest fan of Gaiman's works, but I'm sure you will at least agree it's a higher starting point.
Oh, sure. Last I checked, there wasn't like, what was he was doing in Kingsman 2 with the fingering? What was he had to like plant a bug or something?
Yeah,
there was a dumb scene, but it was really edgy because it had to be like fingered.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, it probably makes sense anyway, but it definitely makes sense if you've seen it or read the story.
Yeah, no, it was a thing.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't see Neil Gaiman. He's too classy. Let's throw something like that, and he's.
Did you? Speaking of Mark Millar, he in the last couple of weeks announced a TV show without announcing a TV show.
Okay.
In that, obviously his comics imprint company, Miller World, is owned by Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And they announced a new comic that he's making, another spy thriller. Basically, he literally said, Kingsman was successful, so I wanted to try again. It was really weird because they announced this. He's like, no, it's a comic series. It's coming soon. There is no artist attached yet at all. But this coming from Netflix is clearly like, well, this is going to be a TV show or I suppose a movie at some point in the not too distant future that they are going to pick up, right? That because it's the only reason he makes comics anyway.
Yeah, there was nothing interesting in anything you just said. I have to admit,
There's going to be another spy TV show based off a Mark Millar property at some point in the next few years.
Yeah, and I cannot care less about that as a combination of words.
Look, that's fair.
I mean, I'm really quite good.
But it's news.
So it's not this week's news. So
last week's close enough.
So there you go. That is this week's TV news. Hopefully you've enjoyed this return to the format, and there'll be more silly TV descriptions to read in the weeks and months to come. So I will take this time to just ask if you to go and like and subscribe and ding the bell and all that stuff. It helps us out a lot. It is the easiest way to support YouTube channels is by doing that. If you listen to the audio version, of course, and just give us a 5-star rating and whatever on your podcast app of choice, iTunes being the most dominant one. I think something like 25% of the audio downloads go to iTunes, which is the highest percentage. It's very fragmented. There's a lot of places to get audio podcasts from now, and
does it track all of them separately?
Well, I get a total number, but it also gives me a breakdown of like the percentages.
Fair enough.
And yeah, so but yeah, iTunes is the most common. Anyway, so do all that. You can of course support us financially over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV for as little as $1 per month and get some bonuses for your trouble. And you can of course become a producer at one of the higher tiers, and I will take this time to thank those Patreon producers. So thank you to Tyler Hess, Cindy Palacios, David Short, Board Now, Al Treisman, Christopher Moy, David Brown, and Stanley. They are producers for the month of July. So thank you very much to all of you. And to everyone who supports us on Patreon, thank you too. So there you go. That is the return of MailFuzz TV news. Hopefully you're delighted by that prospect.
To quote, I think it was Nintendo. Please be excited.
No. That wasn't Nintendo. That was Square Enix, because that.
Damn it! Right.
There was a guy that came out and like everyone thought it was going to announce a Final Fantasy 7 remake, and it ended up just being like a port of the original. And then he's like, "Please be excited."
I remember now.
Yeah. The whole thing was meme worthy. What's so funny is it was only like 6 months later at E3 that the actual remake got announced and everyone lost their minds. But so it wasn't actually that big of a difference from when that tease, or it wasn't even a tease. It was just everyone just misunderstood and thought it was going to be there to announce something exciting.
Yeah, and then the exciting thing was pretty good.
Yeah. So there you go. But that is it. It was mentioned as well, there will be a MailFuzz movie news 2, which is over on the MailFuzz movies channel. They did separate recently, mainly just to help the YouTube algorithm, which is weird about subscribers only clicking on some of your videos but not all of them, so it just made more sense to split them into 2 separate things. So make sure you go and subscribe to that if you do like Streams After Midnight or the Atomic Cinema Experiment or want the movie news or anything else. There's also a new horror show over there, and there's a bunch of stuff coming in the near future, so go and have a look and see that too. But that is us, so thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?